Has it been long enough? Can we talk about Pinkie Pride like adults? Yeah, probably not. It's one of the most inexplicably popular episodes. One of the highest rated and generally adored. Everyone who I respect the most in this community agrees that it's the best episode ever.
Pinkie Pride is the best episode ever made.
And there's no reason I shouldn't agree, right? It's by my favorite writer. It's about my favorite pony. It guest stars one of the top 10 human beings ever. But honestly, is that enough? Is that all that matters? For most people it seems to be, but doesn't an episode need something else? Like a good script? Now, I don't think I can get away without mentioning that this is a musical episode, with a whopping 6 songs and a whopping 1 good one. But no, I don't think this episode is bad because the goof-off song has some disturbingly repetitive lyrics.
Happy, 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 happy birthday to you.
No, I can overlook Pinkie Pie saying happy 12 times in a row, or this weird random Spanish break.
Dale, 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 no pierdas el tino, porque si lo pierdes, pierdes el camino.
No, the problems with Pinkie Pride are far more fundamental than that. Since when was Pinkie Pie adverse to the concept of collaboration?
Aren't you gonna help Cheese Sandwich plan the party?
He obviously has what it takes to do it all by himself.
Really?
Yes, indeedy.
I want you to really think about that and try to square it in your own mind. Because it wasn't a factor before this episode, and it wasn't a factor at the beginning of this episode.
Now who's ready to join the super duper party pony to plan the super duper party?
Now, I'm aware that MLP, and Amy Keating Rogers in particular, don't hold continuity in a very high regard. I mean, look at the very next episode she wrote, Philly Vanilli. Fluttershy doesn't have stage fright. In fact, I think that's the one fright that she doesn't have.
Should we sing about it again?
So Philly Vanilli is a great episode, written by the same writer, that also asks us to accept a retcon in exchange for a well-told story integral to the retconned element. So I'm perfectly willing to consider the importance of a retcon when judging an episode of MLP. But how does this apply to Pinkie Pride? Well, this episode has really bad external
I couldn't leave my friends. I just couldn't.
and internal continuity that's not really in service of anything. The central conceit here is that Pinkie Pie has a hitherto unheard of ego. And now I know what you're gonna say. But Fatman, you see, during the episode Friend Indeed, Pinkie's, dare I say, pride, is on full display during the Smile, Smile, Smile song. This line specifically.
'Cause I love to make you smile, smile, smile.
Check and mate, sir. Good day to you. Yes, but making her friends smile is often depicted as a collaborative effort, even over this very line with Big Mac giving these kids a hayride. She tries to make Cranky smile with the help of the spa ponies, and by getting Rarity to make him a new wig. Nowhere in any episode is it implied that a smile is less valuable to Pinkie Pie if more than one pony contributed to it, even in the context of a party she planned specifically for someone's enjoyment. Like during Griffin the Brush-Off. Pinkie didn't pack up and leave town because Gilda's party was a collaborative effort.
I was the one who set up all those weak pranks at this party.
Hell, the party was ultimately a failure and she didn't go bananas. So Pinkie having an ego and treating parties like serious business is a retcon this episode is asking us to accept. Which I've already established I'm willing to do if it's in service of a good story. What makes it hard is that they double back on this continuity almost immediately.
A pair of party pony platters in Ponyville? What could be more perfect?
And then triple back onto it. How else do you explain her refusal to accept Cheese's offer to help plan the party? So the conceit is that Pinkie is pretentious enough to think that she's the best party planner in Equestria, despite not being certified.
You're really a certified party pony?
That's right.
Whatever that means.
And you have my certified Pinkie Party promise.
And that she somehow doesn't understand the inherent appeal of trying something new, which is wrong because in Read It and Weep, she chastised Rainbow Dash for her unwillingness to read, which was new to her. And that she thinks not being the undisputed best at something is grounds to give up on it entirely, which is taking this line from Winter Wrap-Up way too far.
I'm sure my first time was just as wobbly and bobbly and crasherific as yours. Really? No, I bet you'll be super awesome at something that keeps your hooves on the ground.
So before the first half of the episode is up, we're being asked to accept a bunch of unlikable and contradictory things about Pinkie Pie. So she only values herself because she thinks she's the best, and yet she still asks others to join in the preparations?
Parties are serious. Now who's ready to join the super duper party pony to plan the super duper party?
After stating how seriously she takes party planning, she is knowingly enlisting inferior help. But if she somehow deems herself inferior, she's unwilling to help or ever plan parties again? Wait, she's a baker by trade. Why did she quit that job? Oh, never mind. Then comes the turn, where she looks at photos from all her past parties, and instead of realizing that she loves planning parties and making her friends smile, she gets the bright idea to prove that she's the best party planner, even though she just heard that her participation in planning the party was expected.
Aren't you gonna help Cheese Sandwich plan the party?
So we end up in the Goof Off, which on top of being one of my least favorite songs in MLP, is, well, like, does Rainbow Dash even like goofy things? She likes things that are epic and awesome.
Epic!
Epic?
Way cooler! Totally awesome! It's totally
Epic?
She thinks pranks are funny. Goofy just seems like misreading the audience pretty hard. Doubly so because she's clearly not comfortable with competition.
big, tense competition on my birth-anniversary. What could be better?
Which is how the climax comes to be. Now, Pinkie withdrawing from this competition because she realizes she is making Rainbow Dash uncomfortable is the first part of the episode that makes sense. But Pinkie Pie packs up and leaves Ponyville. The thought that she was getting kicked out of town is what made her lose it in Party of One.
Why would I be excited to attend my own farewell party?
Now it's her own self-inflicted punishment?
Exile.
For what?
I'm sorry I let my pride get in the way of you having the best birth-anniversary ever.
Cheese Sandwich never said anything that would imply he was going to stay in Ponyville longer than the duration of Rainbow's party. He says he has a cheesy sense that takes him all around Equestria.
My cheesy sense was a tingling, telling me a party was in the works.
Cheese reveals out of nowhere that he learned how to party from Pinkie.
That never would have happened on my own. For the one who threw that party, it was you.
And wait, how old is she? Like, her family lives on the rock farm, and she's like a little kid living in Ponyville all on her own? Oh wait, no, that's not important. Moving on. Anyway, this information immediately lifts Pinkie out of her funk. It's like that episode of House.
Listen, I saved his life. That means I get credit for every life he saves from here on out.
You can't just laterally pass character traits around like this. Why does the knowledge that Pinkie is secondhand responsible for every one of Cheese's parties make her feel better, when the thought of being secondhand responsible for one of his parties made her give up on party planning altogether? And of course, the episode ends with Pinkie Pie struggling to write down a moral because seriously, what the hell did she learn? She was a self-centered bitch. And then she wasn't. Wait, that was originally Pinkie's chicken! You stole it from her, you fuck! This isn't only a bad episode, it's a fundamentally broken one. Off the bat, we have to accept that Pinkie is a selfish, awful person. And if we do accept that, there's no real payoff to it. Oh god, I just crucified everyone's favorite episode. What the hell is wrong with me? There are a ton of really small problems I had with Pinkie Pride, which are all outlined in a video on Buck Reviewer's channel. So there's a link to that in the description.